Ethan adjusted his helmet as the sun of the distant planet cast long golden streaks across the alien landscape. The air was thin but breathable, and the wind carried a faint hum that vibrated against the rocky terrain. He had been part of the human exploration team for several months now, yet the planet still felt strangely alive, as if it watched their every movement. The ruins they had come to study were ancient, structures taller than any skyscraper on Earth, made of materials that glimmered faintly, even under the pale light of this alien sun. He crouched beside a broken column, brushing off the dust that covered strange inscriptions. He tried to decipher the patterns, running his fingers along the smooth curves of the symbols. They were unlike anything humans had ever seen, yet there was a rhythm to them, a kind of order that made him wonder about the minds that had created them. Ethan had always loved puzzles. This was a puzzle bigger than any he had ever imagined. "Ethan," called Dr. Morales, the team leader, her voice crackling through the comm system. "You're wandering too far again. Keep within range." "I'm almost done here," Ethan replied, eyes fixed on the inscriptions. "I think I can figure out part of the language." "You think a 1,000-year-old alien script can be cracked in an afternoon?" she replied, her tone teasing but sharp. "Come back before the storms roll in. You know how fast this wind picks up." Ethan sighed, but carefully rolled the scroll of notes he had been keeping. The wind had already begun to pick up, rustling through the ruins and carrying with it a scent that reminded him of Earth after rain, though more metallic, more strange. As he turned to leave, a sudden shimmer caught his eye. It was a light, almost like the reflection of sun on water, but it hovered in midair, pulsating gently. Curious, Ethan moved closer, shielding his eyes. The light grew, forming the shape of a small platform, floating just above the ground. He instinctively stepped back, but the platform hovered closer, almost inviting him. A voice echoed, soft and melodic, filling his mind directly. "Ethan," it said. He froze. The voice was not coming from any speaker or device. It was inside him, calm and gentle, yet filled with authority. "Who's there?" he asked, though he already knew it wasn't a normal voice. "I am Lizera, queen of this world," the voice continued. "You have been chosen." The words made his heart race. He had read reports of alien civilizations, but none had ever openly contacted humans, and certainly none had appeared like this. The platform descended slowly, revealing a figure draped in flowing, iridescent robes that shimmered with colors Ethan could barely name. The figure had an ethereal presence, not entirely solid but somehow tangible. Her eyes glowed faintly, filled with a light that made Ethan feel both welcomed and small at the same time. I'm honored," Ethan stammered, instinctively bowing. His scientific mind raced, trying to find a rational explanation, yet everything around him screamed impossibility. "You are here because of your curiosity, your courage, and your mind," Lizera said. "I wish to give you a gift, a token of friendship from my people." From within her robes she extended a hand, revealing a small object resting in her palm. It was a crystal, roughly the size of a human fist, glowing with an inner light that seemed to pulse with a heartbeat of its own. Ethan felt drawn to it, though every logical part of his mind screamed caution. "What does it do?" he asked, though part of him feared the answer. "It is a gift for understanding," Lizera replied, smiling faintly. "Its true purpose will reveal itself in time. For now, accept it with an open heart." Ethan hesitated. The human brain was wired to be wary of unknown objects, especially from an alien civilization. But something about Lizera's presence disarmed him. There was no threat in her tone, only calm and curiosity. Slowly he reached out and took the crystal. The moment his fingers touched it, warmth spread through his hand, up his arm, and deep into his chest. It was not painful, but it was unlike any sensation he had felt before, like standing in sunlight after years underground. You can keep it?" Ethan asked, amazed and unsure. "Yes," Lizera said. "It is yours, Ethan. Use it wisely." Before he could respond further, the platform shimmered and vanished, leaving him alone on the windswept plains. Ethan stared at the crystal, trying to understand it, to feel its rhythm. It pulsed gently, almost as if it were alive, yet it felt natural in his hand. For a moment he could swear he heard the faintest whisper, Lysera's voice, distant but comforting. He returned to the base, careful not to alarm his colleagues. Dr. Morales raised an eyebrow as he approached, the crystal now hidden inside his pack. "Find anything interesting?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "You could say that." He hesitated, unsure how to explain the encounter without sounding insane. "Just something I think is important. Something I need to study." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right. But we stick together. You got that?" "Yes," he said. But even as he walked back to the lab, Ethan could not shake the feeling that something had changed. The crystal seemed to pulse faintly in his pack, and he felt an energy within him, subtle at first but undeniable. His senses felt sharper. He noticed the smallest details, the way dust floated in the lab air, the almost imperceptible hum of the life support systems, even the faint color differences in the walls that had never registered before. He spent hours examining the artifact, running every analysis he could think of. Its material was unlike anything on Earth or in human records, a living crystal perhaps, or something even stranger. And yet, every test only confirmed that it responded to him, and him alone. Ethan went to sleep that night, exhausted but restless. In dreams, he walked through fields of glowing structures, alien landscapes of impossible geometry. And always, Queen Lysera was there, watching him, smiling. When he awoke, he found the crystal glowing faintly on his bedside table, as if it had never stopped. Over the next few days, the effects became more noticeable. Ethan could anticipate the lab equipment's responses before turning it on. He could navigate the ruins with uncanny precision, finding hidden chambers his colleagues could not. They began to comment on his luck and intuition, but Ethan knew it was something more. Something inside him was awakening, something that connected with the crystal in ways he could not yet understand. He tried to ask the other scientists about it, but he could not explain without sounding delusional. Even as he studied the inscriptions and the alien ruins, he felt a subtle bond forming, not just with the crystal, but with the planet, with its history, and with the mysterious queen who had chosen him. One evening, as he walked the perimeter of the ruins alone, the wind picked up again, carrying that metallic scent he had noticed before. The crystal pulsed gently in his hand, almost urging him forward. Ethan hesitated, knowing he was crossing boundaries he did not fully understand. But curiosity won. He stepped toward the unknown, unaware that every step was drawing him deeper, into a web of challenges, discoveries, and responsibilities that would change not just him, but humanity itself. And somewhere, far above the planet, Queen Lysera observed, her eyes glimmering with quiet satisfaction. The first human had accepted her gift, and the future of the galaxy had just begun to shift. Ethan woke to the soft hum of the human base. The crystal on his desk glowed faintly, almost as if it were breathing. He rubbed his eyes and tried to shake off the lingering dream of Lysera, the alien queen. Yet something inside him had shifted. He felt lighter, more aware, and strangely attuned to the rhythms of the base around him. At breakfast, his colleagues noticed subtle changes. His reflexes were faster, his observations sharper. He caught tiny mistakes in the equipment readings before anyone else noticed, and even minor changes in the base's atmosphere registered with him instinctively. Dr. Morales raised an eyebrow. "You're on edge?" she said, a hint of curiosity in her voice. "Or did you stay up all night again?" "Maybe both," Ethan said with a smile, pocketing the crystal discreetly. He did not want to explain what had truly happened. Even thinking about it felt impossible to share without sounding insane. As the day progressed, Ethan experimented quietly with the crystal. He held it in his hands, feeling its warmth and the gentle pulse that seemed to resonate with his heartbeat. He discovered small ways it responded to his thoughts, tiny shifts in its glow, faint vibrations, a subtle hum that seemed to echo his own internal rhythm. He decided to test it further. Outside the base, he approached a ruined alien tower. Using nothing but intuition and the crystal's influence, he moved over uneven terrain, climbed jagged rocks, and found a hidden entryway his team had overlooked. When he called the others over, they were astonished. The entrance had been completely invisible to conventional scanning equipment. "How did you find this?" Dr. Morales asked, awe in her voice. Ethan hesitated, unsure what to say. I'm not sure. It just felt right. But he knew it was the crystal. It was helping him, guiding him in ways he did not yet fully understand. That evening, he examined the inscriptions in the hidden chamber. The walls glowed faintly with alien symbols, more intricate than anything he had seen before. The crystal pulsed in his hand, almost as if encouraging him to touch the carvings. When his fingers brushed against the wall, images flashed before his eyes, visions of alien cities, strange technologies, and the queen herself watching over her people. Ethan staggered back, heart racing. The visions were intense but not harmful, and he realized they were memories or knowledge stored within the ruins. The crystal seemed to connect him directly to the planet's history, unlocking knowledge that had been hidden for centuries. Days passed and Ethan's abilities grew. He could sense environmental changes, predict equipment malfunctions, and even anticipate the movements of small animals and alien life forms nearby. It was exhilarating, but also frightening. He worried that others might see him as a threat, or that the crystal's influence might go too far. Then the first sign of trouble arrived. Scouts from a neighboring alien faction, one not loyal to Queen Lysera, detected unusual energy readings around the human base. They did not yet understand the nature of the crystal, but they were intrigued by the presence of humans with unexpected abilities. One morning, alarms blared through the base. Ethan rushed to the command center where Dr. Morales and the security officers were already coordinating defenses. "Alien scouts," Dr. Morales said grimly. "They're sending probes near the perimeter. We don't know if they mean harm." Ethan felt the crystal pulse fiercely in his pocket, almost warning him. Without thinking, he grabbed a portable scanner and ran toward the perimeter. The probes hovered silently, sleek and black, with no visible weapons. Yet Ethan could feel their presence as if the crystal extended his senses beyond human limits. He studied the probes, observing their patterns, and noticed a subtle flaw in their navigation. Acting on instinct, he activated a small signal jammer to disrupt their approach. The probes wavered and retreated, though not entirely destroyed. Dr. Morales arrived, breathing hard. "How did you—" "It just worked," Ethan said, uncertain himself. The crystal was reacting, guiding him, but in ways he could not fully explain. That night he lay awake, thinking about Queen Lysera. Her gift had already changed him, giving him abilities far beyond any human expectation. He realized that she had chosen him for a reason, not simply to test humans, but perhaps to awaken something within them that even humans themselves had not yet discovered. But the crystal was not just a tool. It was a responsibility. Ethan began to understand that every choice he made, every action he took, could have consequences far beyond the base, far beyond his understanding. And there were those who would seek to exploit it, if not destroy it. Doreen. Next day, Ethan explored further, taking the crystal with him. He discovered an underground chamber beneath the ruins, filled with alien machines that hummed with energy. The crystal pulsed in response, connecting to the machinery. He experimented carefully, activating a small console. A holographic map projected in front of him, showing star systems, trade routes, and ancient alien colonies. It was knowledge that humans could never have discovered on their own. He realized that the gift from the Queen was more than a crystal. It was a key to knowledge, to power, and perhaps to the survival of his species among the stars. However, the alien scouts returned, this time in greater numbers. Ethan had only a small warning system set up at the base, but he quickly understood that Conventional defenses might fail. Acting on instinct, he combined human technology with the crystal's subtle guidance, creating traps and diversions that confused the enemy. The scouts, despite their advanced technology, could not anticipate Ethan's strategies. By the time Dr. Morales and the security officers arrived, the alien scouts had retreated, unable to penetrate the base. Ethan stood among them, chest heaving, realizing that he had done something remarkable. Humans had survived an encounter with a superior alien force not by sheer firepower, but by creativity, intuition, and the strange abilities awakened by the Queen's gift. Dr. Morales studied him carefully. You did something incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Ethan smiled faintly. It wasn't just me, he said. It's the crystal. It's helping. The weeks that followed were a mix of wonder and anxiety. Ethan continued to explore the ruins, learning more about the planet, the ancient alien civilization, and the crystal itself. He could feel a growing bond with the Queen, though she remained distant, observing silently from afar. Every night, the crystal glowed softly beside his bed, and he dreamed of alien cities, vast skies, and the Queen's serene face. Yet the threat of the scouts remained. Ethan knew they would return, more determined and more dangerous. He also realized that the crystal's influence might not remain subtle forever. Each day it guided him. It awakened more of his abilities, but it also connected him more deeply to the alien technology and the planet itself. The line between human and alien influence was blurring, and Ethan could feel it. One evening, while studying a holographic map projected by the crystal, he noticed a faint signal coming from a distant star system. It was an encoded message clearly not meant for human eyes, but the crystal translated it automatically, revealing a warning from Queen Lysera herself. The scouts were gathering allies, preparing for a strike not just against the human base, but potentially against humanity itself. Ethan's heart pounded. He realized that accepting the gift had set him on a path far greater than he had imagined. The human species was now involved in something much larger than exploration or science. They were becoming part of a galaxy-wide struggle, and he, an ordinary human until recently, was at the center of it. Yet fear did not paralyze him. Instead, it fueled determination. He understood that humans had always thrived in adversity, not through raw power alone, but through courage, ingenuity, and the ability to think differently. The crystal was a tool, but it was also a test, an opportunity for humans to show that even among the stars they could rise, adapt, and overcome. As the twin suns set behind the alien mountains, Ethan stood at the edge of the ruins, the crystal glowing softly in his hands. He could feel the planet's energy beneath him, the distant hum of alien machines, and the quiet watchfulness of Queen Lysera. The gift he had accepted so innocently was no longer just a curiosity. It was a responsibility, a power and a promise. The alien scouts would return. Other dangers awaited. But Ethan smiled. He was ready. Humans had survived storms, wars, and unimaginable challenges on Earth. Now they were stepping into a larger universe, guided by an alien gift, and he would ensure they thrived. And somewhere, far above the planet, Lysera observed once more. The first human had begun to awaken, unaware of the full potential within, but already showing the qualities that would make humanity a force to be reckoned with among the stars. Ethan had spent weeks learning to understand the crystal, though he knew he had only scratched the surface of its power. Each day it pulsed more strongly in his hand, and he could feel a subtle warmth spreading through his chest, almost like the heartbeat of the planet itself. He had come to understand that the crystal responded not just to his thoughts, but to his intentions, his curiosity, his empathy, and his courage. The base had become a hub of quiet excitement and tension. The human team had begun to notice Ethan's uncanny ability to solve problems and anticipate potential dangers. Machines that had frequently malfunctioned now ran smoothly under his guidance. Navigation through the alien ruins, previously slow and uncertain, had become rapid and efficient. Even the youngest recruits looked to him with a mixture of awe and curiosity. but Ethan was acutely aware of the shadow looming over them. The alien scouts had returned, more numerous and more cautious than before. It was clear that their interest in the human team was no longer casual. They had learned something about the crystal's power, even if they did not yet fully understand it. And now they were preparing for a confrontation that could test everything Ethan had learned. One morning, while examining a particularly intricate set of inscriptions deep within the ruins, Ethan felt the crystal vibrate in his hand. He paused, closing his eyes and focusing. The vibration seemed to respond to the inscriptions themselves, urging him to touch specific points along the alien symbols. Hesitant but compelled, he traced the carvings with his fingers. A sudden surge of light filled the chamber, and the inscriptions glowed brightly. Ethan's vision blurred, and for a moment he felt as if he were moving through time itself. He saw the alien civilization as it had been centuries ago. Towering cities of glass and metal, machines that moved with intelligence, and beings who lived in harmony with the planet's energy. He saw Queen Lysera in her youth, observing her, people with careful wisdom. And then, he felt her gaze turn toward him, distant but penetrating, as if she had known he would come to this place. When the light faded, Ethan found himself alone, but the crystal pulsed more strongly than ever. He realized that it was not just a tool, but a bridge to knowledge, history, and understanding. He had glimpsed the past, but it felt as though the knowledge could guide the present, and even the future. Back at the base, Dr. Morales watched him closely. "Ethan, are you all right? You've been gone for hours." "I'm fine," Ethan said, still catching his breath. I think the crystal is showing me things. History, knowledge, things humans could never access on our own." Her eyes widened. "This is beyond anything we expected, but be careful. Power like this, it can attract attention." Ethan nodded. He knew she was right. The alien scouts had already proven their interest, and now, armed with even partial understanding of the crystal, he had become a beacon. That night, the first attack came. Silent ships appeared above the base, their forms dark against the twin moons. They did not broadcast a message or offer negotiation. They had come to seize the crystal. Ethan acted immediately. Using the knowledge and intuition the crystal had awakened within him, he coordinated the base's defenses. He had begun to notice patterns in the alien scouts' behavior, subtle signs of their movements and strategy that no human could normally detect. He anticipated their approach, directing energy shields and deploying decoys. The scouts were highly advanced, but they had not accounted for the unpredictability of human ingenuity combined with the crystal's guidance. Ethan maneuvered the defenses with precision, turning what could have been a massacre into a tactical stalemate. His teammates followed his instructions without question, trusting his instincts. During the confrontation, Ethan realized something remarkable. The crystal could interface, however subtly, with alien technology. It did not take control, but it could sense energy flows, weaknesses, and timing. Using it, Ethan was able to jam the scouts' navigation temporarily, causing their ships to drift harmlessly away from the base. The humans had survived, not through brute force but through clever strategy, quick thinking, and the subtle power of the gift they had received. After the battle, Ethan walked through the ruins again, feeling the weight of responsibility. The scouts would return, stronger and more prepared. He understood now that accepting the gift from Queen Lysera had set in motion events that could determine humanity's place in the galaxy. The crystal pulsed gently in his hand, as if offering reassurance. Ethan took a deep breath and allowed himself to feel a small surge of pride. Humans had survived countless challenges on Earth, from natural disasters to wars. Now they had shown that even among advanced alien civilizations, they could adapt, innovate, and overcome. Over the following weeks, Ethan continued to explore the alien ruins, learning more about their history and technology. He discovered that the civilization had left behind repositories of knowledge, some encoded in the architecture itself, others in machines that could only be activated by someone attuned to the planet's energy. The crystal allowed him to interact, with these systems revealing secrets that had been lost for centuries. He also began to notice subtle changes in himself. His reflexes were faster, his senses sharper, and his intuition more precise. He could sense danger before it arrived, understand complex alien symbols instinctively, and anticipate the movements of people and machines around him. Yet he remained humble, aware that these abilities were not entirely his own. They were the gift of Queen Lysera, and with them came great responsibility. One evening, as he sat alone in the ruins, the crystal began to glow with unusual intensity. He closed his eyes and felt a presence, gentle but commanding. Queen Lysera's voice filled his mind, calm and serene. "You are learning quickly, Ethan," she said. "The gift is more than a tool. It is a connection, a test, and a promise. You are showing that humans are capable of rising to challenges that even my people might hesitate to face." Ethan felt a mixture of awe and humility. I want to understand," he said aloud. "I want to do right by humanity." "You will," Lysera replied. "But know this. The galaxy is vast, and not all who see you will welcome your presence. Some will fear you, others will seek to control you, and some will try to destroy you. Your ingenuity, courage, and morality will be your greatest strengths." Ethan opened his eyes, feeling the weight of her words. He had accepted the gift innocently, unaware of its full meaning, but now he understood that his choices would have far-reaching consequences. Humanity's survival and perhaps its rise among the stars depended on what he did next. The next day, he gathered his team. "We need to prepare," he said. "The scouts will return and they won't come alone. But we're not helpless. We have technology, knowledge, and something more, intuition and adaptability. We can face whatever comes." Dr. Morales studied him, a mixture of admiration and concern on her face. "You've changed, Ethan. The way you see things, it's remarkable, but we have to be careful. Too much power in the wrong hands could be disastrous." Ethan nodded. "I know, but we also have a chance to show that humans can rise to any challenge, even among the stars. We have to try." As he spoke, the crystal pulsed in his hand as if affirming his words. It was a quiet, steady rhythm, a heartbeat of guidance and strength. Ethan understood that the path ahead would be dangerous, but it would also be an opportunity, a chance for humanity to shine, not through force alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unique qualities that made them human. In the following weeks, Ethan and his team began training, experimenting, and preparing. They studied alien technology, learned to anticipate the scouts' strategies, and devised clever defenses. Every small victory, every solved puzzle, reinforced the truth that humans could not only survive, but thrive in this alien world and above. Them unseen but ever present, Queen Lysera observed. Her gift had awakened something rare and precious, a human mind capable of adapting, thinking creatively, and acting morally in situations that demanded more than strength alone. She smiled faintly, knowing that the first human was learning the lessons of the crystal, and that the future of the galaxy was beginning to shift in ways that would surprise even the most powerful alien civilizations. Ethan stood at the edge of the ruins one evening, gazing at the horizon where the twin suns dipped below distant mountains. The crystal pulsed softly in his hand, a reminder of the responsibilities he carried, the knowledge he had gained, and the potential that lay ahead. The scouts would return, challenges would come, and the universe would test him in ways he could not yet imagine, but he was ready. Humans had always risen above impossible odds, and now, guided by the gift of an alien queen, they would do so among the stars. Ethan had grown accustomed to the crystal's presence, though every day it revealed new mysteries. Its pulse had become a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat that resonated with his own. The bond between him and the gift was deepening, and he was beginning to realize that it was not just an artifact, but a living connection to Queen Lysera and her people. Each day brought new understanding, new abilities, and new responsibilities. The base had grown more secure, yet the tension never fully dissipated. Ethan knew that the alien scouts would return, and perhaps with allies far stronger than before. The crystal had given him insight and foresight, but he also knew that the universe was vast and unpredictable. The decisions he made now could shape not only his life, but the future of humanity in the galaxy. One morning, as he explored a newly uncovered section of the ruins, the crystal pulsed with unusual intensity. He followed its guidance through a narrow passageway, walls etched with alien symbols that glowed faintly in response to his presence. The chamber opened into a vast hall, its ceiling lost in shadows, with a central pedestal that emitted a soft, steady light. Ethan approached carefully. The pedestal held an object unlike anything he had seen, a spherical device, humming softly, with energy lines connecting it to the walls and floor. The crystal in his hand responded immediately, its pulse syncing with the device. He could sense knowledge, potential, and power within it, an intelligence that seemed ancient, wise, and deliberate. As he reached out, a vision filled his mind. He saw Lysera standing among her people, guiding them through centuries of challenges, using devices like this to maintain balance and peace across her civilization. He saw threats approaching, wars averted, civilizations saved by understanding and intelligence rather than brute force. The crystal had connected him not just to history, but to purpose. When the vision faded, Ethan understood the truth. The crystal was more than a gift. It was a key to awakening human potential. His species had qualities rare among the stars: adaptability, ingenuity, courage, and empathy. The alien queen had seen these qualities and chosen to nurture them. Humanity was not just visiting the galaxy, it had the potential to shape it. Back at the base, Ethan shared his discovery with Dr. Morales. "This isn't just technology," he said, voice filled with awe. "It's a tool, a test, and a responsibility. The Queen didn't just give me a crystal, she gave humanity a chance to rise." Dr. Morales studied him carefully. "And we're ready for that?" she asked, her tone a mix of skepticism and hope. Ethan nodded. "We have to be. The scouts will return and other forces may intervene, but we can adapt. We can learn. Humans have always thrived in challenges, and now we have guidance from something far beyond our understanding." The warning came sooner than expected. Alien scouts, larger in number and more heavily armed, appeared in orbit above the base. Ethan felt the crystal pulse urgently, almost like a heartbeat racing in alarm. He knew that this attack would test everything he and the team had learned. He coordinated defenses with precision, using insights the crystal provided to anticipate the scouts' movements and strategies. He had begun to understand the patterns, the subtle weaknesses in their ships and the ways they thought differently from humans. It was not brute strength that would win this battle, but intelligence, creativity, and the ability to adapt. The scouts launched probes toward the base, attempting to locate the crystal. Ethan directed his team to deploy energy shields, decoys, and traps, confusing the enemy. The crystal responded to his intentions, subtly influencing the energy flows of the shields and guiding him to optimal positions. Humans had survived attacks before, but never like this, outsmarting an advanced alien force through ingenuity alone. During the confrontation, Ethan realized something remarkable. The crystal could interface with alien technology, not by controlling it directly but by understanding its energy patterns. He could sense weaknesses, predict timing, and manipulate the battlefield in subtle ways. It was a partnership of mind and artifact, allowing him to achieve what would have been impossible for any human alone. By the time the scouts retreated, the base had sustained minimal damage. Ethan and his team had succeeded through strategy, quick thinking, and cooperation rather than brute force. It was a victory, but one that carried lessons. The galaxy was vast, and humans were now players in a game far larger than they had imagined. In the quiet that followed, Ethan reflected on what he had learned. The crystal was more than power. It was knowledge, responsibility, and potential. Queen Lysera had entrusted him with something profound: the ability to awaken human qualities that could influence the fate of civilizations. He realized that humanity's true strength lay not in technology alone, but in creativity, moral courage, and adaptability. Over the following weeks, Ethan explored deeper into the ruins, guided by the crystal. He discovered repositories of knowledge, some encoded in alien symbols, others stored in machines that responded only to his presence. The crystal translated information directly into his mind, allowing him to learn rapidly. He absorbed knowledge of alien engineering, energy systems, and communication networks, gaining insights that could propel human civilization forward by centuries. Yet the crystal also revealed challenges. There were factions within the galaxy who would see humanity's rise as a threat. Some would attempt to control, exploit, or destroy humans. Ethan understood that the gift came with responsibility, not just for himself, but for his entire species. Every decision, every action, could shape the future. One evening, as the twin suns set, Ethan felt the crystal pulse differently. Lysera's voice filled his mind, calm but serious. "Ethan, the next stage begins. You have shown wisdom, courage, and ingenuity. But your choices will now influence not just the humans here, but civilizations far beyond. The path ahead is not without danger." Ethan felt the weight of her words. "I understand," he said. "I will do my best." "You will not walk alone," Lysera replied. "The gift has prepared you, and humanity has the potential to rise. But you must guide them wisely, and remember that strength alone is not enough. Understanding, creativity, and morality will be your greatest allies." The next challenge arrived sooner than he expected. An alien faction, previously unseen, appeared near the planet. They were larger, more organized, and clearly aware of the crystal's presence. Their ships moved with precision, testing the defenses of the base. Ethan felt the crystal pulse urgently, and he knew that this would be the ultimate test of human ingenuity and the lessons he had learned. He coordinated the defense, combining human technology, intuition, and the crystal's subtle influence. He anticipated movements, deployed traps, and guided his team with clarity and calm. The alien faction advanced, but they were unprepared for the unpredictability of human thought. Ethan's strategies, informed by the crystal and his own ingenuity, allowed the humans to neutralize threats without major damage. In the aftermath, Ethan realized that the gift was more than a tool for survival. It was a way to awaken human potential, to demonstrate that even in a universe filled with advanced civilizations, humans could rise through creativity, moral courage, and quick thinking. Queen Lysera observed silently from afar, satisfied. The first human had begun to fulfill the promise of the gift, demonstrating qualities rare in the galaxy: adaptability, intelligence, and the capacity for moral decision-making. The path ahead was still uncertain, but humanity had begun to show its true strength. Ethan stood at the edge of the ruins, watching the twin suns set. The crystal pulsed softly in his hand, a reminder of the responsibilities he carried and the potential he had yet to explore. The scouts would return, challenges would come, and the universe would continue to test him. But he was ready. Humans had always risen above impossible odds, and now, guided by the gift of an alien queen, they would do so among the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries and dangers, but also opportunities for growth, understanding, and triumph. And Ethan knew that, with courage, ingenuity, and the crystal's guidance, humanity could not only survive but thrive. The journey was far from over. The crystal had awakened something within him, something that would shape the destiny of humans and aliens alike. Every choice, every action, every decision would matter, but Ethan welcomed it, confident that the gift had chosen well and that humans were ready to rise to the challenge. The twin suns had just begun to rise over the alien mountains, casting long shadows across the ruins where Ethan and his team had made their base. The crystal pulsed in his hand with a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat, reminding him of the responsibilities he carried and the power he had been entrusted with. He had grown accustomed to its guidance, but today felt different. He could sense it, an urgency, a warning, and an opportunity all at once. Reports came in from the perimeter sensors, a massive fleet of alien ships, larger and more organized than any previous encounter, was approaching. Their energy signatures were intense, coordinated, and unmistakably hostile. Ethan's heart raced, but he did not panic. The crystal had guided him through challenges before, and it would do so again. He gathered his team, now seasoned through weeks of exploration, battle, and learning. Dr. Morales, the security officers, and the younger recruits all looked to him, waiting for direction. Ethan could feel their trust and reliance on him, and it strengthened his resolve. "We've faced scouts before and we've survived," he said. "Today is bigger, yes, but it's the same principle. We adapt. We think. We use what we have to protect ourselves and, if possible, to show our strength without unnecessary destruction. Stay alert. Trust your instincts and follow my lead." The alien fleet moved closer, their ships sleek, black, and seemingly impenetrable. Ethan felt the crystal pulse more rapidly in his hand, guiding his thoughts. He studied their formation, noticing subtle patterns that suggested weaknesses. The fleet was advanced, yes, but predictable in some ways, and that was enough. Humans had a gift no machine could replicate: the ability to think creatively, to improvise, and to act morally under pressure. He deployed the base's defensive shields in precise alignment, creating zones that forced the alien ships to approach through channels where their energy weapons were less effective. Decoys and holographic projections scattered across the landscape, confusing enemy sensors. He coordinated the movements of his team, placing them in positions where they could respond to breaches without being overwhelmed. As the first wave of ships attacked, Ethan noticed the crystal's glow intensifying. It seemed to resonate with the alien technology, subtly influencing the energy flows and patterns. He did not control the ships directly, but he could sense their intentions and adjust the defenses accordingly. Each pulse of the crystal aligned with his decisions, as if it were a partner in the battle rather than a simple object. The human team moved like a well-oiled machine, guided by Ethan's instincts and the crystal's subtle input. Alien attacks were met with calculated responses, traps, and clever maneuvers that leveraged terrain, energy shields, and decoys. One by one, the alien ships found themselves outmaneuvered, their systems disrupted in ways they could not anticipate. During the battle, Ethan realized something crucial. The crystal had not only enhanced his physical and mental abilities, but it had awakened something in the humans themselves. His team members were thinking faster, noticing details they would normally miss, and improvising in ways that reflected the unique creativity of their species. The artifact had not made him a lone hero. It had amplified humanity's strengths as a whole. Hours passed in intense engagement. Alien ships were damaged, some retreated, and the final wave hovered above the base, hesitant. Ethan knew the decisive moment had arrived. He took a deep breath, focusing all his thoughts on strategy, timing, and coordination. The crystal pulsed in response, steady and strong, almost like a signal of approval. Using a combination of energy channels, precise decoys, and the crystal's subtle influence, Ethan executed a maneuver that forced the remaining ships into a containment field created by the base's shields. The alien fleet struggled, their energy systems disrupted, their attacks neutralized. It was a victory not achieved through brute force, but through intelligence, creativity, and human ingenuity amplified by the gift of the crystal. When the battle finally ended, silence fell over the ruins. The human team gathered, exhausted but triumphant. They had faced a fleet far superior in technology and numbers, and had emerged victorious. Ethan stood among them, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and responsibility. Humanity had proven itself, not as invaders, but as intelligent, resourceful beings capable of facing the unknown with courage and wisdom. In the quiet that followed, a familiar pulse filled Ethan's mind. Queen Lysera's voice came, calm and warm. "You have shown wisdom, courage, and ingenuity, Ethan. The gift was given to awaken potential, and you have exceeded expectations. Humanity has proven that it is capable of more than mere survival. It can rise among the stars with honor and insight." Ethan felt a wave of relief and pride. "Thank you," he said aloud. "I only hope I can guide them well. I want humans to live up to the gift, to show that we can be more than what we were." "You will," Lysera replied. The future is shaped by those who act with intelligence, courage, and morality. Humans have these qualities in abundance. The crystal has merely helped them see what was already within. Over the next few weeks, Ethan and his team worked to repair the base, study the alien ruins, and integrate the knowledge they had gained. The crystal continued to pulse softly in Ethan's hand, a constant reminder of its presence and guidance. Its influence remained subtle, never overpowering, but always enlightening. The human team discovered more about the alien civilization, learning how it had thrived for centuries through intelligence, cooperation, and ethical decision-making. They realized that the crystal was part of a network designed to awaken potential in those who could rise to challenges. Ethan understood that he had been chosen not just as an individual, but as a representative of humanity. With this knowledge, he began preparing for the next stage. Humanity would not remain confined to one planet or one system. They had proven that even in the face of superior technology and unexpected threats, they could survive and innovate. The crystal had opened a door, but it was humanity's courage, adaptability, and ingenuity that would determine how far they could go. One evening, Ethan stood at the edge of the ruins, the twin suns casting golden light across the landscape. The crystal pulsed gently, and he felt a deep sense of connection, not just to it, but to the planet, to the alien civilization that had entrusted him with this gift, and to the people he represented. The galaxy was vast and full of mysteries, dangers, and opportunities, but he was no longer afraid. Humanity was ready. In the distance, the stars shimmered, vast and infinite. Ethan knew that new challenges would come, that other civilizations would test humans, and that the choices he and his species made would have consequences far beyond their home planet. Yet he felt a deep certainty. Humans had the capacity to rise above obstacles, to learn, adapt, and thrive, no matter the odds. The Mito, alien queen, watched silently from afar, satisfied. Her gift had achieved its purpose. Humanity had accepted it with courage and humility, and they had proven their worth. Ethan had shown that humans were not just fragile explorers in a vast universe. They were capable of shaping the galaxy through creativity, intelligence, and moral strength. As night fell over the planet, Ethan held the crystal in his hands, feeling its gentle pulse. The future was uncertain, filled with unknown challenges, but he smiled. Humanity had begun to awaken, guided by a gift they had accepted without fully understanding, and they had risen to meet it. The journey was far from over, but for the first time among the stars, humans could see their true potential. And somewhere, far above the planet, Queen Lysera's eyes glimmered with quiet approval. The first human had accepted her gift, faced the trials of the galaxy, and shown that humanity was ready. The crystal had chosen well, and the universe would never be the same. Ethan looked up at the sky, the stars shining like beacons of possibility. The gift had awakened more than abilities. It had awakened a vision, a promise, and a path for humanity to follow. He felt the pulse of the crystal, steady and unwavering, and he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humans were ready to rise, not just as survivors, but as beings capable of greatness among the stars. The galaxy awaited, and humanity would answer its call.